Jai Koti Janvallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari
Jaya Koti Janvallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya
Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Brajajanandana Jaya Yamuna Tiravadachari Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Jaya स्तोत्र श्रीमद Bhaktivinod Takhura की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद भागवतम की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna, so welcome everyone to morning Bhagavatam class at Hare Krishna Temple, Bhajan. We're continuing study of Srīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, Creation, Chapter 10, titled Departure of Lord Kṛṣṇa from Dvārakā. Today's verse is text number 22. Please repeat after me. Nārayanam namaskritya Naram chaiva narottamam Devim sarasvatim vyasam Tato jayam mudiraye Nashta prayeshva vadreshu Nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavati uttama shloke Bhaktir bhavati naishtiki Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om namo Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Sareva bhuyo nijavirya choditam.
Sareva bhuyo nijavirya choditam.
Svajiva mayam prakritim Kṛṣṇatāṃ.
Svajiva mayam prakritim srishritam.
Svajiva mayam prakritim Kṛṣṇatim.
Svajiva mayam prakritim srishritam.
Svajiva mayam prakritim Shatyam.
Svajiva mayam prakritim srishritam.
Anam rupam mani rupanam Anam rupatmani rupanamani.
Anam rupamani rupanamani.
Vidit samano nusasara sastrakrit.
Vidit samano nusasara sastrakrit.
Vidit samano nusasara sastrakrit.
Vidit samano nusasara sastrakrit.
Sareva bhuyo nijavirya choditam.
Sareva bhuyo nijavirya choditam.
Svajiva mayam prakritim sasrishtaṃ.
Svajiva mayam prakritim srishritam.
Anam rupatmani rupanamani.
Anam rupatmani rupanamani.
Vidit samano nusasara sastrakrit.
Vidit samano nusasara sastrakrit.
Sareva bhuyo nijavirya choditam.
Sareva bhuyo nijavirya choditam.
Svajiva mayam prakritim srishritam.
Svajiva mayam prakritim sasrishtatim.
Anam rupatmani rupanamni.
Anam rupatmani rupanamani.
Vidit samano nusasara shastrakrit.
Vidit samano nusasara sastrakrit.
Sareva bhuyo nijavirya choditam.
Sareva bhuyo nijavirya choditam.
Svajiva mayam prakritim srishritam.
Svajiva mayam prakritim sasrishtatim.
Nama rupatmana rupanamani.
Anam rupatmani rupanamani.
Vidit samano nusasara shastratam.
Vidit samano nusasara sastrakrit.
Sareva bhuyo nijavirya choditam.
Sareva bhuyo nijavirya choditam.
Svajiva mayam prakritim srishritam.
Svajiva mayam prakritim sasrishtatim.
Anam rupatmani rupanamani.
Anam rupatmani rupanamani.
Vidit samano nusasara shastrakrit.
Vidit samano nusasara sastrakrit.
Sareva bhuyo nijavirya choditam.
Sareva bhuyo nijavirya choditam.
Svajiva mayam prakritim srishritam.
Svajiva mayam prakritim sasrishtatim.
Anam rupatmani rupanamani.
Anam rupatmani rupanamani.
Vidit samano nusasara sastrakrit.
Vidit samano nusasara sastrakrit.
Sareva भूयो निजवीर्यचोदितं
सदैव भूयो निजवीर्यचोदितं
जीवमायां प्रकृतिं सुशिक्षितां
सजीवमायां प्रकृतिं सुशिक्षिताम्
अनामरूपात्मैरूपनामनि
अनामरूपात्मनिरूपनाम्नि विदित्समानोऽनुशासनशास्त्रकृत्. Anyone? Okay. What to what? Saha. He. Eva. Thus. Bhuyaha. Again. Nija. Own personal. Virya. Potency. Choditam. Performance of. Sva. Own. Jiva. Living being. Mayam. External energy. Prakritim. Onto material nature. Srīmad while recreating. Anāma without mundane designation. Rupa Atmani forms of the soul. Rupa Namani forms and names. Vidhit Samanaha desiring to award. Anusasara entrusted. Shastra-krit the compiler of revealed scripture. Translation by His loving divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivinod Takhura, dekhi. Please repeat. The personality of Godhead, again desiring to give names and forms to His parts and parcels, the living entities, placed them under the guidance of material nature. By His own potency, material nature is empowered to recreate. Tempered by Srila Prabhupada, please hear. Living entities are parts and parcels of the Lord. They are of two varieties, namely Nitya Mukta and Nitya Baddha. Nitya Muktas are eternally liberated souls, and they are eternally engaged in reciprocation of transcendental loving service with the Lord in His eternal abode beyond the manifested mundane creations. But the Nitya Baddha, or eternally conditioned souls, are entrusted to His external energy, Maya, for the rectification of their rebellious attitude toward the Supreme Father. So these two word stems we should remember. Nitya Baddha, conditioned souls, all of us, and the Nitya Siddhas, eternally liberated, perfected beings. Nitya Baddhas are eternally forgetful of their relation with the Lord as parts and parcels. They are bewildered by the illusory energy as products of matter, and thus they are very busy in making plans in the material world for becoming happy. They go on merrily with plans, but by the will of the Lord, both the plan makers and the plans are annihilated at the end of a certain period, as above mentioned. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita as follows. O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, all living beings, all living entities merge into my nature, and again, when the time of creation is arrived, I begin creation by the agency of my external energy. The word Bhuya indicates again and again, that is to say, the process of creation, maintenance, annihilation is going on perpetually by the external energy of the Lord. He is the cause of everything, but the living beings who are constitutionally the parts and parcel of the Lord and are forgetful of the sweet relation are given a chance again to get rid of the clutches of external energy and to revive the living being's consciousness. The revealed scriptures are also created by the Lord. Vedic literatures are the guiding directions for the conditioned souls so they can get free from the repetition of creation and annihilation of the material world and the material body. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, this created world and material energy are under my control. Under the influence of Prakriti, automatically they are created again and again, and this is done by me through the agency of my external energy. And so we see two verses here quoted from 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Actually, the spiritual sparks, living entities, have no material names or forms. But in order to fulfill their desire to body over material energy of material forms and names, they are given a chance for such false enjoyment, and at the same time they are given a chance to understand the real position through the revealed scriptures. The foolish and forgetful living being is always busy with false forms and false names. Modern nationalism is the culmination of such false names and false forms. Men are mad after false name and form. The form of body obtained under the certain conditions is taken up as factual, and the name also bewilders the conditioned soul into misusing the energy in the name of so many isms. The scriptures, however, supply the clue for understanding the real position, but men are reluctant to take lessons from the scriptures created by the Lord for different places and times. For example, the Bhagavad Gita is the guiding principle of all human beings, but by the spell of material energy, they do not take care to carry out the programs of life in terms of Bhagavad Gita. Srīmad Bhāgavatam is the postgraduate study of the knowledge for one who has thoroughly understood the principles of Bhagavad Gita. Unfortunately, people have no taste for them, and therefore they are under the clutches of Maya, for repetition of birth and death. Jai Shri Bhaktivinod Takhura. Such a powerful purport by Shri Prabhupada. Let's do Mangalacharan prayers so that we can discuss the points mentioned here. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnana-njana-shalakaya Chakshur-unmilitam yena Tasmai Shri-Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya-manobhishtam Sthapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadāmayam Dadāti Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Gitavali Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sargana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sarvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sargana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusude Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarobhyasya Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Bhūtair-mahadbhir-yajima-puro vibhu nirmāya-shete yadamushu-purusha Bhunte-gunan-shodasha-shodashatmaka Solam-krisishta-bhagavan vachamsi-me Shri Krishna Sharanam Sharanagatam Katha-amritam Satatapivatam Bhaktivedanta-marga-panthanam Sarvaloka-rishideva-janna-prasannam Sarvaloka-rishideva-janna-prasannam. So, in this chapter we see that Lord Kṛṣṇa is now leaving from Hastinapur to Dvārakā, and as he is departing in his chariot, the ladies of the Hastinapur, who are in the palaces, they go to the top of the palaces, and from the rooftops, checked by shyness and smile, they are having the audience of Kṛṣṇa. And they are not only having audience of Kṛṣṇa, but they are glorifying Kṛṣṇa. They are not only glorifying Kṛṣṇa, but they are stating about the nature qualities of Kṛṣṇa and Krishna's constitutional position as supreme absolute truth, and how in this particular verse that Kṛṣṇa, through the agency of Maya, he deals with the living entity, giving them an opportunity to lord over the material nature, but at the same time providing an opportunity for the living entities to come back to him through Shastra-krit, through the compilation of the Vedic scriptures. So as yesterday we were mentioning, the Vedic scriptures, they are, especially Bhagavad Gita and Srīmad Bhāgavatam, are instruction manuals. These are textbooks through which we can actually go back home, back to Godhead. When it comes to spirituality, people generally discount the importance of having a textbook, a manual to go by. People generally want, no, we only can be guided by our own self. But our own self are not properly situated. Our minds are not only polluted, but not under our own control. Srīmad Bhāgavatam, very nicely it is explained. Dehendriya prana manodhyam yo janyap vyayashvat bhayatarsha krichrihi. That the body itself is the source of misery. The deya is subject to deterioration. So as we age, only we know how much either body is tolerating us or we are tolerating the body. Which way it is, we don't know. But it is becoming difficult. And then the senses are there. They are always agitated. They are always demanding things. But we cannot fulfill the unlimited desires of the senses. And then there is prana, the life air. And life air is constantly harassed. We are harassed by hunger, thirst, lack of sleep, and so forth. And then there is mind. The mind is constantly running like a wild monkey, drunk, bitten by a scorpion, possessed by a ghost. No one is stable. Now in this condition, how can we even think of taking shelter of our own minds? And then there is dhyā. Dhyā means intelligence. The intelligence is again completely bankrupt, because we don't know how to discriminate as to what is to be done and what is not to be done. So this whole program is there, and as we were trying to recite this verse, it was a bit of a tongue twister, few words, especially prakritim, sisri, shitim. Took quite a while to get our tongue around it. And actually that is material nature. it is very difficult not to live by, but we even get around it. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that Devi shagunamayi mama maya duratyaya. My material nature is duratyaya, very, very difficult to get around. And the whole point here, Prabhupada is mentioning and emphasizing the purport here, that the living entity go on merrily with plans, but with the will of Lord, both the plan makers and the plans are annihilated at the end of a certain period, as above mentioned. So, scriptures tell of this allegory story of a man who enters the forest, known as a manik. He wants to cut some wood in the forest and then sell it for a profit. But as he goes deep into the forest, he hears a roar of a tiger. And when he looks behind him, he sees a ferocious tiger is running after him, has spotted him. So the man runs for his life. And as he's running, he's looking behind, he's huffing and puffing. He thinks, this is my end. And all of a sudden, he falls down and into a well. The well was covered by the creepers and branches. But as he's falling down this dark well, there is a branch or a root growing from the walls of this well. And with his hands, he grabs onto it and he manages to hang onto it. And there's a momentary sigh of relief. And when he looks up, he sees the tiger on the edge of the wall roaring. And then he looks down the well. It's pitch dark. However, when his eyes are able to adjust to the darkness, he sees a lot of eyes with black pupils. And soon enough, when his eyes have adjusted enough, he figures out that actually there are snakes. They're hissing ferociously, just waiting for him to fall down so that they can make a meal out of him. So on the top he looks, there is a tiger. Below he looks, there is snakes, and then he's hanging onto this branch in the well. And little while after, because he fell down, he disturbed the natural habitat of the well, and the branches and the creepers that he unsettled there. There was actually a honeycomb, and it was full of honey and bees. And the bees then started flying, and they started biting his body. And the man is just struggling to hang on there. However, a drop of honey falls from the beehive and falls directly onto his tongue. And he has a taste of that honey, and he starts thinking, how wonderful is this taste of honey? And then he keeps sticking his tongue out and keeps relishing the honey. But in the meantime, there is tiger waiting for him outside the well. There is snakes waiting for him to fall down so that it swallows him up. He's been bitten by bees, stung by bees, and in all this predicament, he's still thinking, making plans on how more and more honey can come my way. So this is called fruitive activity, or in Sanskrit, as they say, karma. What's that phrase? Jnana karma anāvita. So Prabhupada, when we read Bhagavad Gita or Srīmad Bhāgavatam, he gives this term. Everyone is afflicted by fruitive activity. So what does fruitive activity mean? Let's ponder on this point.
Yearning for more. Yearning for more.
Yearning for more, very good. Yes, yearning for more.
Something that gives result.
Yes.
For the result.
Something that gives result. We hope it will give result.
We perform duties so that we accept some result from that. Like, oh, I may get something from this, so I'll do this work.
Yes. So there is a hope that
Yes.
some result will
Something
come.
will come.
So for that, I must do this particular thing. Yes. Any other points?
Sense gratification.
Yeah. So basically, to enjoy the fruits of a certain action, the living entity or human beings, we undergo great pain and labor. Quite some time ago, we saw a movie, In Pursuit of Happiness. Has anyone seen that? Yeah. So it's about a black American person. He's married. He has, I think 5-year-old child. His marriage breaks down. Wife just leaves him, and he is alone to fetch for himself and the child. He doesn't have a job. He's poverty stricken. But at the same time, he has great hope, to just conquer the world and find a job. And he's struggling. Throughout the whole movie is about his struggles on how, he goes to an interview without, without a shoe or something like that. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. Anyway, he gets the job, but he's on probation. And things keep going wrong. But at the end, somehow the other, he gets the permanent job, and he's at the same time feeding for the child, and doing his duty, so to speak. But the movie ends like everything at the end worked out well. But really, life, how well did it really work out for everyone? Because everyone at the end of the day, if you look at this allegory story, that who is the representation? So it is said that the man actually represents the spirit soul, all of us, conditioned souls. And the tiger symbolizes the chasing time towards us, the death. Tiger represents the death, and it is chasing us every moment, every second. Kṛṣṇa is chasing us. And the snake represents the fear, and just waiting for the poisonous fangs to bite us. And the honey signifies sense gratification of material life with family, friends, relatives. So the bees, interestingly, also represent, it is said, the family members. Because the family members bite, they also give some honey. The proportions you all know. I forgot one part of the story.
The white and the black mouse.
Yes, they are actually, the white and the black mouse are there, and they are eating away onto the branch or the root. And in no time, in a certain time, the branch will fall and it will go to the snake pit. So there is the white rat and the black rat. And the white rat and the black rat, they represent day and night. So with passing of each day, our life has been bitten away. And one day we are closer to death. And the bees are biting us, all these things are happening, and we still have the hope that no, I'm getting the honey, I will be happy here. So this material world is compared like that. That, despite we can see, Pashyan api na pashyati, Bhagavatam says, that we are sufficiently experienced. Pashyan means seeing. But na pashyati, still we choose to remain blind. We don't ask this question, oh, my father has died, or my mother has died, or their father has died, their mother has died. No, around us we see, death at different times of many people of different ages. But the most wonderful thing, I will live forever. So Srila Prabhupada emphasizes this point that we have to understand, but we still go on making plans that no, we will be happy in this material world. So that, as the movie's name is, In Pursuit of Happiness. We just go on and on. But one day, we will succumb to those rats who have bitten away the branch, very fragile branch, which we are holding on to. And that is for sure. And the dark well represents the samsara, the cycle of birth and death, in which we are just caught up. And the reason why we are just hanging on, because against all odds, we have hope. As soon as you remove this factor, hope, the living entity is no more. It is only hope that gives sustenance to the living entity to go on and on and on, even though he's fighting a futile battle. He's just hopeful that he will overcome it, although he's never able to overcome it, but that hope keeps the living entity going and going. So, but that hope actually moves in the cycle of birth and death. Because that is called durāśaya. Durāśaya means false hope. Prahlad Maharaj says, Nate vidu swartha gatim hi visnum durāśayaye bahirarthamaninas. So he says, Nate vidu. People don't know that their swa artha, their real benefit is in Vishnu. Swa means our own self, artha means benefit. So our real benefit is in Vishnu, in worshipping Vishnu. Nate vidu, but people don't know this. Instead what? Durāśaya. They take ashray, or they have hope, false hope. Bahir arthamaninas, that they can get happiness from outside. Andha yathandhairupagiyamaninas tepi satantram murudam nibaddha. In this way, everyone is doing same thing, and everyone is blind. And blind people are following similar blind people. Andha yathandhairupagiyamaninas tepi satantram urudam nibaddha. And they become bound and implicated in this way, in this cycle of karma. The karma binds us. So Bhaktivinod Takhura, he describes this in a nice bhajan in his Gitavali, that this is called anādi karama-phale. Theoretically, we can understand. At least this is stupidity, isn't it? That, the man hanging onto the branch, eating away by the rats, bitten by the bees, down the snakes, up the tiger waiting, and still he is hoping that the honey will keep falling and I'll stay here to get the honey. He's not making his priority to get out. but actually that person is all of us. Because similarly we are also doing it to different degree. Therefore Bhagavatam says, Pramattamuccai ritikritya chintaya. Pramatta means insanity, madness. Prabhupada very nicely translates this word pramatta, insane, mad, thoroughly deluded. Uchay, extensively, loudly, iti, thus, kritya chintaya, to be done by the contemplation of intelligence. So, our intelligence we are not using in understanding that this material world is precarious. We are rather misusing the intelligence in trying to extricate some pleasure out of the material world, which in due course of time will be futile. Pravriddha lobham vishayeshu lalasam. The greed does not stop. Even when a man becomes old, it is said, Adi Shankara says, angam kalitam, the body is almost melted away. The hair has grown white or fallen down. Dashyana vihinam jatam atundam, the teeth have fallen, not able to chew properly. Nonetheless, vriddho yapi grihitva dandam, he goes on walking with a stick of hope. Tadapina munchati āśā-pindam, still the hope does not leave that person. No, I can still extract some pleasure out of this material world. So this is called pravriddha lobham vishayeshu lalasam. The lobha is increasing and increasing. Please have a look at this verse. Lord Shiva says this, 4.24.66. Please repeat. Pramattamuccai ritikritya chintaya pravriddha lobham visayeshu lalasam. So pravriddha means what? It's increasing. It's vriddhi, it's increasing. Pravriddha lobham. So the lobham, the greed is increasing, not reducing as we age. And lalasam means desire for enjoyment. That is also increasing. It is not decreasing. Pravriddha lobham vishayeshu lalasam tvam apramatta sahasa vipadyase. So he addresses Kṛṣṇa that tvam apramatta. What does apramatta mean? What does pramatta mean? Mad. Then apramatta means not mad. So he's saying, Kṛṣṇa, you are not insane. You are sahasa vipadyase. You, that living entity who is insane and trying to hope to live on, suddenly you appear before him. Sahasa vipadyase. How? Like a serpent of time. Shudle lihano jahati yo antaka. So, when the serpent all of a sudden appears in front of the rat, Shudle lihano means that the serpent puts its tongue, the fangs out and swirls it in this motion and then sucks the rat in. So it says, simply like that serpent of time, O Lord, you confront the living entity and put him to ultimate demise and end. And the living entity goes on still making plans. Pravriddha lobham visayeshu lalasam. So Srila Prabhupada emphasizes on this point that it is insane to keep on making plans to go on living. Rather, we have to make plans on how to get out of this cycle of birth and death. We have to make plans on how to get out of that well in which we are stuck. But we are making plans on how we can live happily here. That is actually madness. I give this example. When I, went to Sydney Temple, and the temple president Atmaram Prabhu was giving class, and he was speaking on a particular verse. I think it was deha patya kalatradisu atma sanyesu asasvapi tesam pramattaha nidanam pashyan api na pashyasi. And there, in that verse also, the word pramatta is mentioned. That verse means deha patya kalatradishu, our family, our wife, our children. We think atma sanyesu. Sanyesu means soldiers. So we think, actually, I can protect my family, my wife, my children. I can do it. The wife also thinks like that. The children also think like that. However, tesham pramattaha nidhanam, they are all insane, because they are, Prabhupada mentions that although they think they are infallible, but they are fallible soldiers. Fallible means that they will succumb to death themselves. Tesham pramattaha nidhanam. Pramattaha, it's insane. Nidhanam means death. No one will be able to save anyone. Tesham pramattaha nidhanam. Pashyan api na pashyati. Although they see around them, no one is able to save anyone. Pashyan, they can see it, but na pashyati, they remain blind. This is the greatest irony and predicament. Pashyan api na pashyanti. Prabhupada translates, although sufficiently experienced, they remain blind to this fact. So he was saying, yes, everyone is insane. Yeah? And then he pointed, you all are insane. I said, talk about yourself, I'm not mad. But he said, the extent of insanity varies, but everyone is mad. In this material world, everyone is mad, the extent of madness varies. Tvamapramattaha. But Kṛṣṇa is not mad. Sahasa vipatyasya surle lihano jahatiyo antaka. And our end is imminent. So, Prabhupada says, therefore one should make plans with a determination on how to get out of the cycle of birth, death, old age and disease. And through the help of scriptures, in this verse it is mentioned Shastra-krit. One should try to do that. But at the same time, one should not discount the difficulty. Because we are conditioned, this is what Prabhupada is emphasizing this paper, we have been conditioned for so many times. And in this Bhajan, Bhaktivinod Takhura says, anādi karama-phale, toribāre toribāre dekhi, upāy. e-vis aya-halāhale, divā-niśi, jwale, kabhu sukha, nāhi. So Prabhupada has given a paper to this bhajan. I'll just read it. He says, anādi karama-phale, bhavārnava-jale, toribāre dekhi, upāy. This song is sung by Bhaktivinod Takhura depicting the conditioned souls. Bhaktivinod Takhura is presenting himself as one of the ordinary human beings, saying, due to my past fruitive activities, I have now fallen into this ocean of nescience, and I do not find any means of coming out of this great ocean. So anādi. Anādi means there is no end to it. This cycle of karma, we can't see any end to it. Goes on. So when we say Prabhupada, wherever Prabhupada mentions the fruitive activity or the fruitive result or the fruitive work, then we should look at this bhajan to understand what actually it means, because actually we don't know what fruitive work means. But Acharyas so kindly are telling us how dangerous is this. To us it's simply, oh, kaam kar liya, it's a tick, let's go on. But there is an implication of every action. And this bhajan, Prabhupada Bhaktivinod Takhura are explaining, there's no end to that work. It will go on and on and on. Toribāre means that in the ocean, we are stuck in this ocean of nescience. Toribāre na dekhi upāy, and we can't find any means of getting out of it. Sometimes we find ourselves, we are just stuck in the situation. We can't get out of this situation. Whatever it may be, our studies, our family, work situation, or the situation of this whole material world, we find ourselves in this. And on top of that, e-vis, aya-halāhale. Life is like a poison. Hālāhale is the poison that came out when the demigods and the asuras did the chaining of the ocean, and Lord Shiva drank that ocean. But the life itself is compared to that ocean of hālāhale. It is just like ocean of poison. If one takes some pungan food, it bends the heart. Similarly, although we are trying to be happy in sense enjoyment, actually our situation is just becoming the opposite, and the effort is causing our hearts to bend. So, whatever solution we take to get out of these problems, this solution is more miserable than the problem even itself. That is what Prabhupada says here. We keep tying the knots again and again instead of untying it. So by fruitive activity, we are trying to counteract our past bondages or past fruitive activities, but we are adding on top of it more and more. That's what fruitive work means, that we are implicating ourselves more and more into it. Divā-niśi jwale, and day and night our heart bends in this situation. Kabhu sukha pāy, and our mind never attains happiness. We think by doing this I'll become happy, but no, that happiness never comes. Sometimes you hear people say, oh, मेरे जीवन में सुख कभी आया ही नहीं. But they're still trying. It's a wrong place they're looking at. In the next stanza, beautifully Bhaktivinod Takhura describes this problem. āśā-pāśa-śata-śata, kleśa deya avirata, tti-ūrmira, tāhe khelā. Hundreds and thousands of desires like nooses around my neck. Āśā means
Desire.
hope, desire. Desire, hope. It acts like a pāśa. Pāśa means
Poison.
bondage. So that man who's stuck on the branch holding on to, he is bound by that one drop of honey, although there is thousands of problems around him. So similarly, we have this false hope that binds us to go into that problem, but we dig further ourselves into problems. shata-shata. And it's not only one, it's thousands and thousands of desires and hope that bind us. Kleśa, deya, avirata. And those desires give us misery day and night. tti-ūrmira, tāhe, khelā. The great ocean of nescience plays waves of materialistic tendency. Now this is the greatest problem. We think that simply, okay, we have a desire, we do the karma, it's over. Guess what? It's not over. Every karma we do, it adds to the pravritti. What does pravritti mean?
Tendency.
Sorry? Who?
Tendency.
Very good, Prabhuji. Tendency, proclivity. If we do something bad, right, then we think, okay, now I won't do that bad thing again. But that bad thing has planted a seed of further bad thing. And in time to come, that will make us do that same thing again. People said, oh, let us satisfy ourselves. Once we become satisfied, then we will leave it. But material life means no satisfaction. Even they write a song, I can't find no satisfaction. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, what is that verse? Duspurena analena cha. That the lust is like the fire, and the more we put ghee into the fire, it never gets satisfied. So similarly, the greatest problem with the fruitive work is that the more you do, the more tendency and proclivity you will have to do it again and again and again, same thing again and again, and you are just stuck in it. It becomes a habit. You know, they say anything you do once, again, it becomes a habit. And then that habit has caught you. We can't get out of it. Very difficult. tti-ūrmira, tāhe, khelā. Kama, krodha, ādi, chaya, bāta, pāta, deya, āśā-pāśa-śata-śata, āsī-pāśa. So Prabhupada translates that I am always making hundreds and thousands of plans to become happy, but actually all these plans give me pain 24 hours a day. tti-ūrmira, tāhe, khelā. My position is exactly like one who is being dashed again and again by waves of ocean. Kama, krodha, ādi, chaya, pata, peta, deya, Besides that, there are so many thieves and rogues, especially there are 6 in number: lust, anger, greed, envy, illusion, madness. They are always present and I am afraid of them. Āśā-pāśa-śata-śata, āsī-pāśa. In this way my life is becoming advanced, or in other words, I am coming to the point of the end of my life. So we go on doing like this, and all of a sudden the end of the life has come. These 2 more stanzas of this, you can go in your own time ahead reading this nice bhajan. I can send the link in the group if you want.
So I have got a question. So you said that once we do a wrong thing or something, and we will realize that we are not supposed to do it, and we decide we will not do it. So still we'll have that tendency to redo it, or how to stop that tendency? Is there any way for it?
Very good question. So this is the subject matter of 6th canto of Srīmad Bhāgavatam, where when we, do something wrong, then the suggestion is made of prayaśචitta. Prayaśචitta means of repentance, atonement. Prayaśචitta, of atonement. So atonement is there for every wrong karma. We can do it, no problem. But what's the problem with atonement like that?
So So we will think that I have done this atonement, then I will do again some mistake, again I may do, I have a solution for it. Is it something like that?
So the problem with atonement is that, okay, it can nullify that action.
Action. Okay.
However, that proclivity to do it again already has been planted in the heart. It doesn't get rid of that. So it's like you have weeds, you mow the lawn, and you got rid, but the seeds are still there. It will sprout up again. So at the chance, any minute opportunity a person has, he'll do the wrong thing again. So therefore, Shukdev Goswami, when he tells the system of atonement, Parikshit Maharaj rejects it. It's like he calls it Kunjara Snana, means bathing of the elephant. What does the elephant do? Goes in the water, goes in the river, takes the water, comes on the land, puts the mud again. No use. So the solution is Kechit Kevalya Bhaktya Vasudeva Parayana Dhunvanti Kṛṣṇa Bhaskara Dhunvati Eva Bhaskara. I'm not saying the shlok correctly, but this is what it means, that Kechit Kevalya Bhaktya, only that rare devotee or person who completely becomes surrendered to Krishna. Now what is, after we look at it, so as the question you have suggested, very nice question, it's a hopeless situation. There's no end to it. How can we get out of it? So in a hopeless situation, what do? We just put our hands and say, Krishna, please, now only you help. Bhaktivinod Takhura therefore says that samsara kupe patito tyagade. The samsara is like a blind well, and I'm falling into it. Mohan dapurne visaya vitapte. I'm bewildered and I'm blind. And on top of that, my senses and mind, vishaya vitapte, are always troubling me. Karavalambam mama dehi Vishnu. Oh Vishnu, you please extend your hand and pull me out from this blind well. So he says, Vasudeva Parayana, Kechit Kevalya Bhaktya. Kevalya means only this. So therefore Prabhupada says this process of Krishna consciousness is so sublime that only this process of Krishna consciousness can end the fruitive activity. Kechit Kevala, therefore this word Kevalya is used. Kechit Kevalya Bhaktya. Who is that Bhaktya? Vasudeva Parayana. Parayana means he only is dependent on Krishna. Krishna, you are my only savior. He will not go into this calculation of, okay, I have done this bad karma, then I'll do some charity work, some atonement, some yagna, pap, punya, hisab kiya, barabar. But the heart hasn't changed. The problem is that our heart consists of all those desires, those seeds of sins are there. How to get rid of those seeds of sins? But when one does devotional service, pure bhakti to Krishna, Vasudeva Parayana, Parayana means only being dependent on Krishna and only being dependent on pure devotional service, then that pure devotional service burns the seeds. And when the seeds are burnt, the sins have no chance of sprouting. So that is the beauty of the bhakti marga process of pure devotional service, that it not only gets rid of the sin, but it also gets rid of the pravritti hoili khelā, that proclivity and the tendency to commit sin. And we see, so many, people, Westerners, who are doing all kind of nonsense things, but when they strictly followed the principles of devotional service, then they became completely purified, and their tendencies to do those sinful activities completely became eradicated. And in the scriptures we have many examples. We have Dakuratna, who became Valmiki, and in this 6th canto of Srīmad Bhāgavatam, the example of Ajamil is quoted, that Ajamil, due to his past karma, although he was a Brahmana, and once he just with his eyes saw a low-class woman embracing a Sudra, then that proclivity and the tendency to associate like that came in him. And his life, he created havoc in this life. But then again, when he took to pure devotional service, which is pure devotional, this is one thing we have to understand, only depending on Krishna and the process of, this is called Vasudeva Parayana. Once Kadam Kanan Maharaj gave a wonderful class on this verse in Sydney. Kechit kevalya bhaktya. Please repeat. Kechit kevalya bhaktya. Can you look? It's I think 6.1 point. Oh, we haven't got. Okay, that one hasn't gone. Kechit kevalya bhaktya. Kechit means that someone, not everyone, because devotional service is very rarely achieved as well. So whoever is sitting here, consider yourself very fortunate, because you are that rare person who knows actually the way of getting out. 6.115. Yes. Kechit kevalya bhaktya Vasudeva Parayana Adham Dhunvanti Kṛṣṇa
Niharam iva bhaskaraha.
Niharam iva bhaskaraha. Prabhuji, would you like to read the word to word of that?
Kechit, some people, kevalya bhaktya, by executing unalloyed devotional service, Vasudeva, to Lord Krishna, all pervading Supreme Personality of Godhead. Parayanaha, completely attached only through such service, without dependence on austerity, penance, cultivation of knowledge or pious activities.
See, this is the point. Prabhupada so beautifully makes, without depending on any other process.
Agham, all kinds of sinful reactions, Dhunvanti, destroy, Kṛṣṇa, completely, with no possibility that the sinful desires will revive. Niharam, fog, eva, like Bhaskara, the sun. Only a rare person who has adopted complete, unalloyed devotional service to Krishna can uproot to the weeds of sinful actions with no possibility that they will revive. You can do this simply by discharging devotional service, just as the sun can immediately dissipate fog by its rays.
Please study that verse and study Prabhupada's purport on that verse. Very important verse. Prabhupada quoted this verse many, many times. Prabhu, please.
So, can I share something, Mataji? I've told you the story before, right? There's this man who used to go to, this is first regarding atonement, and then the process of how this whole thing works. This man used to go to the church, and he'll give $10. You heard the story, right? So, then he atones like that. So, the atonement is not sufficient. Atonement also, as Prabhu says, like the weeds. So, Prabhupada gives an example, Shastra also gives an example of the bamboos. Even in forest fire, bamboos are gone first because they're dry. They cause the friction, they cause the fire, and they're the first ones to go, right? But still, because the bamboo roots are deep inside, and especially near the source of water, they'll again shoot up immediately. So that's like our desires. Then there's a cycle. You have avidya, ignorance, and because of that, the propensity to do these, activities happen. So avidya, then karma, then phala, and the phala leads to more avidya, and the cycle goes on, right? So when we introspect, of course, we cannot become like this today. That I cannot completely depend on Krishna without anything else. But slowly, when we accept the process, then it's a gradual process. Our desires to do sinful activities also go away. Now, for us also, we have to understand, most of us are coming from, mode of goodness. You understand the sattvic background. So that is a plus point, but that can also be a dangerous point. Plus point is just for us, it is very easy to go to pure goodness of devotional service, easy, no problem. You accept Krishna, 4 principles, those things are easy. But the difficulty is that we are so happy and so satisfied with our mode of goodness that we are like going to an airport and staying there, not flying off to pure goodness. So that's the difficulty to understand. That's why getting more and more immersed in devotional service, gradually and proportionately, as Prabhupada says, is very important. Otherwise, I've seen many devotees all life, they come to Krishna consciousness, but they're still at the same level. The story where someone told Keshav Maharaj that, there's a good news and bad news. The good news is that in last life, you were Krishna conscious. The bad news is you didn't go deep enough. That's why we're still here. So if we have got this chance, we go deeper in Krishna consciousness, and the roots, the desires are taken off. Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Any questions, comments? Ganesh, what did you understand?
There was a word for
No. Just like that. What did you understand?
I like the analogy, the one about the fact that just one drop of honey keeps everyone like looking at the honey and not about everything else. And then you forget about the snakes at the bottom and like death is coming in, But I don't know, why is there a tiger? The bees, I like everything I could connect like something like the bees is like what happens throughout life. Snakes is death. What's the tiger then? Is that just
The snakes and tiger both represent
Time and time.
time and fear. But it's important to at least understand this intellectually, like good proportion of young people are here, that yesterday we were reciting Srīmad Bhāgavatam verse, and it tells that Srīmad Bhāgavatam Purānam Malam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Paramaham Samekam Amalam Jnanam Param Giyate Tatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Naishkarmyama Viskritam Tajrinvan Supathan Vicharana Paro Bhaktya Vimuchyena Raha. So there in the third line it is said Tatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam. So Sakraya Prabhu very nicely said, this is a process. Srīmad Bhāgavatam, is that process which will give bhakti. The foundation of Kechit Kevalya Bhaktya Vasudeva Parayana is, at least in the process, dependence on Krishna, which will give detachment, which will give knowledge, and which will give bhakti. And what is the result of that? Naishkarmyama viskritam naishkarmyam. So naishkarmyam means being free from the fruitive activities. Being free from the fruitive activities means being free from the hope that this will make me happy. Having that hope, I can still be happy in this material world, that is, and then acting on that hope to undertake certain projects, certain endeavors, and going on thinking that this will make me happy, that is the greatest fallacy that will keep us bound. So, having no hope, or putting no faith in material nature, at least to that point, Srīmad Bhāgavatam can bring us. Tatra jnana viraga bhakti sahitam naishkarmyama viskritam. Any questions, comments on that point? Mataji?
Sorry, true. You said like hope, so without hope it's not possible to survive in this world. So how do you So whether we have to differentiate the hope for the material living, and we should have a hope for like spiritual growth or anything, how to differentiate?
Does Nitya or Yukta say to you, mother, will you give me food today? Will you give me? Really tell me.
It is
You force upon them, isn't it? So similarly, Kṛṣṇa is Bharata. Bharata means maintainer. We are unnecessarily worrying what will happen to me. 1,000-kilo elephant, if it's in the forest, what this 60-kilo body, in your case 35, 40, won't it fit? That will all go on. We miss this link that actually Kṛṣṇa, Prabhupada in one of the papers says, we are the source of income, Kṛṣṇa is the source of maintenance. Our income is not the source of our maintenance. So this thing of duty, all those things, we think that is maintaining us. Actually, that is not maintaining us. It is only Kṛṣṇa who is maintaining us, but we are thinking this is maintaining us. So that is called maya, that is called illusion. So
thinking that we are doing everything, and because of I'm earning, I'm doing this.
Exactly. So that will go on because we have certain modes of nature. Certain person will like do the activity according to their modes of nature. That business will go on, but just thinking that I'm getting this because I'm doing this, that is called fruitive activity. Naishkarmya means that whatever I'm doing, actually, I'm not the doer. It's Kṛṣṇa, everything is happening by modes of nature automatically, and Kṛṣṇa is giving the result of it. And having no hope in that, basically, that my work or fruitive activity, as mentioned here, anādi karama-phale, that will not give me any. So beauty of Srīmad Bhāgavatam is, it takes us to the level of naishkarmya, that we lose complete faith in the fruitive activity. As like Prabhupada said, what are we doing? Waking up early in the morning, chanting Hare Kṛṣṇa, going out in the streets, chanting Hare Kṛṣṇa. Money is coming. Buildings, temples are, coming up. We are living like kings. Actually, devotees live more opulently than, those people who are working hard then. So that implicit faith, that devotional service, Vasudeva Parayana, what does that mean? It says, Shraddha Shabda Vispas Kahe Srudhara Nischay, Kṛṣṇa Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Kṛthai. Kṛṣṇa Bhakti Kaile, that when I will do Kṛṣṇa Bhakti, Sarva Karma Kṛthai, all my activities actually will become perfect. But without Kṛṣṇa Bhakti, the activity will implicate us in the material world and create so many other problems, and most worst of it is those seeds of sin. So
Thank you.
So our duty, we are carrying that unnecessary burden. Acharya, relieve yourself of your burden. Maya sukhaya bharam. Now how can happiness be a burden? But Prahlad Maharaj says, we are carrying the illusory burden of happiness. Maya sukhaya bharam udvahato vimudhan. Our foolishness, we are carrying that burden. So Kṛṣṇa says, okay, you carry it.
Yes,
Jai Granth Srīmad Bhāgavatam ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai,
Krishna Prabhu ki
Jai, Gaur Bhaktivinod ki Jai. Hare Krishna. So,
So today is Krishna Janmashtami. Happy Father's Day. Someone will say
happy Father's Day.
Father's Day.
Today is Father's Day.